Welcome to Resource Sessions. I'm Gwendolyn Sterk of Sterk Family Law, and today we have a fantastic not-for-profit hero of the month, and we're honored to have Cindy Grobmeyer with us of Maddog Strong Foundation. How are you today, Cindy?
I'm good, Gwen. Thank you so much for having us.
Sure, it's kind of exciting. So tell us a little bit about what is Maddog Strong Foundation?
So, the Mad Dog Strong Foundation, we work in the organ and tissue donation space. And our goal is really to inspire the next generation of organ and tissue donor advocates. So we focus on teens and young adults, although we'll talk to anybody about our cause. And we have three main pillars: education, registration, and conversation. And the education piece, I'm a college professor. I've been a college professor for almost 30 years. So education is obviously super important to me. And we feel like a big part of this space is that people need to understand the facts and not the myths about organ and tissue donation in order to make an informed decision about whether or not they want to register. And so that registration piece is, of course, important because there's over 100,000 people currently waiting for a life-saving transplant in the United States alone. And only about 58% of Americans are registered donors. So even though about 90% of Americans are in favor of organ and tissue donation, not everybody registers. So that education piece to us became really super important. And then the conversation piece, and that stems from our life experience. We lost our daughter, Maddie, in 2019. One day after her 18th birthday, she suffered an acute asthma attack in the wrong place in the wrong time. And she went into cardiac arrest and lost blood flow of oxygen to her brain. And so she was declared brain dead the day after her 18th birthday. And because she had had a conversation with us about wanting to be an organ and tissue donor, we knew what we had to do in that hospital at that time. And it's given us a lot of peace and purpose. There's nothing that can fix losing your child, but at least we're able to carry on her life and her legacy in the work that we're doing with Mad Dog Strong.
Absolutely. So then were you able, how many organs were able to be donated from your daughter?
So Maddie was able to donate 4 organs. Her heart and her liver went to a woman in her 30s, and then her 2 kidneys went to 2 different people, one woman in her 70s and another young woman who at the time was in her 20s. We have not met, but we've been in touch with the young woman in her 20s, and she just gave birth to a little baby boy last month. So
Wow.
it's been really nice.
That's really heartwarming,
It
to know that she's living on, right? To be able to do that. And what an amazing and miraculous, really, when you think about it, opportunity that people have to become an organ donor, right? I mean, when you think about it in simplicity terms and you think about a heart transplant, I mean, that's just so incredible to think about, you know?
it is.
So,
And we've met recipients. In fact, this week tomorrow kicks off the Transplant Games of America in Denver. And we have a heart recipient who we've kind of adopted, and he's adopted us because he's never met his donor family. And Mad Dog Strong actually sent him to the transplant games this year to represent Mad Dog Strong at the games.
oh, very
So
cool.
he's
Yeah.
going to be running the 5K and doing the long jump. And he's had his heart transplant for just over 5 years now.
That's really cool. And I think that years ago, and obviously I'm a little on the older side, I'm not the first targeted audience for you, but nevertheless,
You'd be
what's interesting
surprised,
to
Gwen.
what's interesting to me is how that it has affected my own life. Just I had a client that got a heart transplant. I have another acquaintance who in the legal arena who had a liver transplant, and to see them carry on and to know where they were and where they are today, it's a miracle. That's there's nothing short of it. So I think that perhaps if we all look at and we look for those opportunities where maybe we had seen that happen, it really gives you another whole idea about it. And
It
actually,
really
knowing a
does.
third experience, I had recently a client who got a transplant, and we got the call one day, and I just want to share this. So I think it's very fun. One of our team members was talking to this individual, and they got the call, and they said, maybe we have a match, and get to the hospital. and it didn't work out, but I have to tell you that just the reaction among all of us, we were like, "Whoa, it's so moving," like we were a part of it, like we were on the phone. And then eventually he did get one that was a match. So I can't even imagine the feeling you get in the high almost, right? It's like a euphoric high when you think about that somebody is living as a result of what has occurred in the donation that occurred.
It is, it's amazing, and not just her organs, but Maddie donated both of her corneas, so she gave
Hmm.
sight to 2 people, she gave sight to a little girl in Michigan, and she gave sight to somebody in Dubai. So
Wow.
yeah,
Very cool. Yeah.
and her tissue donations have gone as far as Seoul, South Korea, so, I mean, she's impacted people around the world, which every time we think about that, it amazes us every single time, and every single time we meet a recipient, they're just the kindest, most grateful, amazing people every single time. So I love that you know a few recipients yourself because you get it,
It's
right?
exciting,
They get a new
right?
lease on life.
It is, right, and it's exciting to be part of it, I think, from a perspective of as a bystander almost, like you're really cheering them on and waiting for it and then watching it happen. I do have another question, and I think it's a question that a lot of people ask. Just I don't know that I'm qualified to give a donation. I think I've heard that from a lot of people over time. Maybe I suffer from some type of disease or I am not in the best of health myself. Can you talk on that a little bit and touch on where's that perception coming from and how you really deal with that?
Sure. Yeah, actually, that is a super common question. And it's funny, we did a donation drive at our church a few years ago, and it was the best donation drive we ever had because we had all the older folks, believe it or not, and I say that lightly because I'm in my 50s.
Like all
But they
part
were
club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, but they came up and they said, "Well, aren't I too old?" And we're like, "No, no, for one, register, let the doctors sort that out." But the
Sure.
oldest liver donor was just last year, I believe it was, in Missouri. He was 98 years old, donated his liver.
Unbelievable. Wow.
So, I mean, and you can even people with cancer can donate their corneas. So, I mean, there's an opportunity there. That doesn't guarantee you that even if you register to be a donor that you'll be able to donate, but the opportunity is always there. And if there is an opportunity, the doctors will make sure that it happens. So don't preclude yourself. Rather, put yourself out there and then see if you can make it happen or not when that time comes. Is the way we all
Sure.
say it. Yeah.
And I want to talk a little more about your organization, but before we get there,
Yeah.
somebody's listening and saying, "Okay, I'm in." Cindy, what is it that I need to do next? Can you help educate us?
Absolutely. So you can go to the Illinois State Registry, which is online at Life Goes On, the Illinois Secretary of State's Life Goes On program. That's one. There's also the National Donate Life Registry. So if you go to our website, maddogstrong.org, as long as you're 18 years old, you can click. There's a big button on the upper right hand corner that says register to be a donor. Click on that. That'll take you to the National Donate Life Registry. And what's nice about the National Registry is that you can sign up there. You can remove yourself at any time if you change your mind for any reason. And you can also, once you've registered, go back into your account and you can put in specific directives for your family. So, like, for example, I'm not comfortable with donating my corneas. So don't let them donate my corneas or whatever it is that you want your family to know. Or I want my body to go to science if it can. And there's another organization for that. Yeah, it's really super easy. You can be registered on both the state and the national registry. You can also register on your iPhone, on the Walgreens app. You can register at the DMV. There's all kinds of opportunities to
Wow, it seems
register.
like it's easy to do that then. So,
There's been a lot of organizations that have been trying to make registering to be a donor a lot easier.
yeah, that's incredible. I have another question, and maybe it's because I'm a lawyer. Is it confidential?
Yes, it's absolutely
Okay.
confidential. The only people who have access to the registries are the organ procurement organizations, the OPOs, and the hospitals. Those are the transplant centers. Those are the only people who have access to the registries.
So your spouse, your parents, your siblings, whoever it is, they're not going to be able to say you're on a donor list.
No, and that's why that conversation becomes so important because you'd be surprised how many times we've heard of families who are being told in the hospital that their loved one was a registered donor and they had no idea. And so it kind of comes as a little bit of a shock to them. And you
Sure.
certainly don't want to be faced with that kind of shock when you're already in that kind of a traumatic, worst moment of your life.
100%. Understand that. Yeah. I think the other thing is to make sure that your directives are very clear, just as an attorney perspective, is you also can provide for it in your estate planning documents. That might not be completely the best route to go given the emergency nature, right, of what
Right.
really has to happen in the time frame, but it is another alternative or maybe another way to document that that was in fact your intent.
Yes,
So we always
I think as
encourage
many
people to.
times as you can communicate that as you can, it's so important. And it's that doesn't have to be a long conversation. That's the big thing we share, especially with young people. It can be a short conversation. Just let your family know, "Hey, this is what I want."
Right. Right. And having those advanced directives, that we have in Illinois, you have the ability to put those options out on paper to say how long and what you want to do. And a lot of times, and I know, it seems odd that we're having this conversation about estate planning, but I think it's really critical that people understand that this can be discussed at that level as well. You know,
Absolutely.
Kelly and I just did another podcast, and if you're listening today, you might want to refer back to it. But we did it on life changes and the seasons of life, and we talked about this whole notion of planning and taking care of one more thing on your list. So I think that it's interesting to me that you're saying that 50% plus are actually registered, but 90% say they'd want to be. So this is another area in life, folks, that we're all talking about all the time on our podcast, saying we got to get it together, and it's a simple process to do. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Tell us about your organization. So you organized this after your daughter passed and then was able to utilize her organs and move forward with that. How then did it come about that you decided to make this your life?
Yeah, it really has become our life, which it
Right.
in a really good way. It was my husband's idea. I think within weeks, he said, we let's have we ever thought about this? What about kind of carrying on this mission?" And so we put our nose to the grindstone, and we had a community behind us who helped us get incorporated, get the 501(c)(3), and within a couple months, we had the organization up and running. And like I said, me being an educator, my husband's been in marketing for 35 years. Like, okay, we've got a pretty good skill set to do this. So
Sure.
our first
Absolutely.
project was, we were just having this conversation. This all happened in 2019. So we just had a fledgling nonprofit when COVID hit. So we so we had a lot of plans and a lot of things that we wanted to do, but we had to move everything online like everybody else did. But it's really kind of shown us that digital advocacy can be a really, really good thing. And one of the pivots that we made during Donate Life Month in April during COVID was we had all these plans to do stuff and we couldn't do any of the in-person events. So we did a Facebook Live series called Discussing Donation. So this year we kind of rebooted it, turned it into some reels and brought it back up and brought it back
Sure.
out there because the education piece just never stops. I mean, every the more you can learn about this, and I think you would agree on with anything, right? One that the more you can learn about anything, the better decision you're
Better
gonna be able
off it
to
is.
make.
Right.
So
Leslie,
we did
something's
that.
happening today. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, so we did that, and then we created a digital free high school curriculum that teachers around the state and around the country can use. And it contains educational documentaries about donation. It contains different gamification and other in-class activities. And so that was our next big project that we worked on kind of as we went through the couple years of COVID, was getting that up and running and getting that out there. And now that's our Teach Life program that's available for teachers to use absolutely free of charge.
Well, that's very interesting because you took away my next question because that was going to be to say, okay, let's say you're a teacher or let's say you're in some other kind of organization and you want to be able to share this information. Maybe you're in a club or whatever. Can you use that Teach Life program or are there other educational programs you'd recommend?
No, actually, the Teach Like program is great. So we've got 4 different short documentaries. There's one that's a half hour. That's kind of the longest one that goes through everything. But then we've got a couple shorter ones that are aimed more at nursing students and medical professionals. And then we've also got a series of short, just couple-minute videos that are all recipient stories. So it really gives you the opportunity to make your own make your own project, I guess, make your own
Sure.
presentation, depending on so
Right.
community organizations could use it. Absolutely, anybody who wants to share or learn more could use the Teach Life program.
Fantastic. Now, let's say somebody's listening and they're saying, well, I'm registered. What else could I do in addition to that to really help? Because this really does prolong and allows life to continue on in full cycle, right? So, how could they get involved with you?
Well, and I think a lot of people in this space think that the end of the game is registration, that's the ultimate goal, and we actually think registration is great, but now that you're registered, we want you to talk about that. Why did you register? Share with people that you register. When you have the opportunity to bring it up, learn more and share that information, because the more that we talk about it, the less stigmatized it will be. And I think one of the big problems is that registering to be a donor is connected with death, and nobody wants to think about death. Nobody wants to talk about death. It's just not what we do. It's not what we're comfortable with. But
Adulting now,
what
right?
was it?
It's adulting.
It
It's
is
got to
the
be an adult, right? Yeah, you got to take care of business. What we all
totally
expect.
adulting.
So, right.
Yeah.
But you also have to deal with it, and we all have to deal with that sense going forward. So, are there activities or are there events coming up with your organization that people might want to get involved with and help with?
We do. We have our Miles for Mad Dog Awareness Walk coming up actually next Saturday, June 27th. It's our biggest event of the year. It runs through Frankfurt Square Park District. It starts and ends at the square, which is right on Kingston Drive in Frankfurt Square. And it used to be a 5K, 10K. This is actually our sixth annual, but we lost our original venue, so we kind of had to pivot this year a little bit. But we're planning a really cool event. It's going to be about a 2-mile course. And along the course, there are going to be 9 different gratitude stations where people are going to be able to stop and learn from different organizations in this space and pick up cool swag and learn about
Awesome.
donation and transplantation. So we're really excited about the
Sure.
event this year and how it's going to be kind of reimagined and different.
And then what other opportunities may people have in addition to that?
So we have our the night before Miles for Mad Dog. One of our other projects that we've done that we're really super proud of is Giving Tree Park. Giving Tree Park is also in Frankfurt Square Park District. They've been an amazing partner with us. And what we did was we had to pivot during COVID, so we weren't able to do our first year of Miles for Mad Dog. So we dedicated that first year 3 trees to the donors from before 2000, 2001 to 2008, and 2009 to 2018. And then we dedicated a tree to the 2019 donors. And then every year, the night before Miles for Mad Dog, we dedicate a tree, an existing tree, to the previous year's organ and tissue donors throughout the country. And the event has grown. We get donor families who come in from Indiana, Wisconsin to come to the event, and we lay wreaths on all the trees. We read all of the donor heroes' names that we have, probably well over a couple hundred names at this point. And it's just a really, really nice ceremony. And one of the things we're hoping to do is to help donor families around the country start giving tree parks in their own park districts. So that's kind of one of our new initiatives.
That's really
We have
cool. Yeah.
Giving Tree Park, Miles from Mad Dog, and then we just do a lot of community events. We have a Donate Life Night game coming up in August that we partner with the Illinois Secretary of State's office at the Crestwood Thunderbolts. We do downtown Frankfurt's Trunk or Treat. We partner with Ghouls on Glasgow for that, and we bring the message of organ and tissue donation to Halloween. So we wherever we get an opportunity to talk about it, we do.
Now, are you on Facebook in addition to social media, in addition to your website? So
Yes.
people can see your events?
Yep,
Can you share a little bit? Okay.
LinkedIn, Instagram. We're on all the majors, working on TikTok, over 50. Have
Oh
a great
my, that's tough. I haven't been sold on that one yet, but anyway.
I'm
Oh,
kinda with you, Gwen.
good.
But
Well,
yeah,
very cool.
follow us, Mad Dog Strong Foundation on all the major socials.
What an opportunity it is. And we're so honored and privileged to have this and to have the opportunity and to know that you really can be part of a miraculous part of how life can be moving forward, right? And move on. And I really think that it gives an absolute wonderful opportunity for people to think about it. It's their choice to do that, but you can do it in privacy, we learn, confidentiality, and you can also educate others. So, what a great podcast, Cindy. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on. We really, really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Gwen. Thanks for asking such great questions.
Have a great day.
You too.